Today we're going to go on a little drive, got a work meeting, and I thought we should take this time to maybe make the first Tesla video. Let's go. I tried to narrow down top 5 things, or not top, just 5 things. I want to focus on owning the Tesla Model Y in Canada. There's a lot of great content out on YouTube, on the internet for the Tesla Model Y. It's great content. I've loved watching a lot of it. It really helped inform my decision to buy the Model Y here in Canada. There is some content for Canada. I don't think there's a lot, and I just think it'd be a lot of fun to make some videos and share with you all why I think that the Tesla Model Y is a great choice in Canada. So here we go. So making a list of the top features is really hard to do because there is a lot. If you know anyone who owns a Tesla and ask them to narrow down, it is super hard because it really is an amazing car. To be clear, I was not a car guy before I got it. I'm still not a car guy. I don't know how to fix, I don't know how to do anything. I like to drive them. So this car really sparked my interest in cars because it is really truly amazing. It really isn't a car. It's so much more than that. It's a computer. It's really impressive. So the first thing I think you have to choose first is the fun to drive. This car is, it's fast. I think everyone knows now Teslas are fast. I'm not really a crazy fast driver, but to have the responsiveness and, even being a bit quick when you need to be is really nice to have, and it's fun. Equally, it brakes great, it corners great. The car has a very low center of gravity due to the battery being in the floor, so it really does feel like it's really planted to the ground really well. Gives you a lot of confidence when you're even taking small corners. The autopilot aspect, which makes it relaxing to drive when you're on the highway. The next thing I really have to mention, maybe should be first. It should be first. The car is very safe. They just completed the testing on it and it got 5 stars all the way around the board, with notably a really low probability of rollover due to the weight and the battery, like I said. So with a family, I have 2 kids, they're both still in car seats. It's super important to have a really safe car. The probability of accident and how much lower it is in the Tesla, and why the Tesla Model 3, which is a sedan type of version of the Model Y, was the safest car that had ever been tested in the US. And the Model Y just went through its testing, as I said, and it did excellent as well. But the Tesla family of cars is always collecting data and sending it back to Tesla for them to continue to improve and update the autopilot system, among other features. They actually have data on how many accidents occurred and what features were being used. And the most recent data, which is from 2020 in Q4, they recorded 1 accident for every 3.45 million miles driven. That's with autopilot on. Without autopilot on, but they still had the car's active features, safety features turned on, there was an accident every 2 million miles. Without autopilot on and without the active safety features on, there was an accident in every 1.2 million miles. The average across all vehicles in the United States is an accident per every 484,000 miles. So you can see the reduction in accidents when you own a Tesla, and certainly when you use autopilot. The autopilot that they're referencing here is the autopilot that comes standard with the car. It is not an upgrade. You don't have to pay extra for that. So I thought that was pretty interesting. So the next thing I would talk about is the performance in winter. I think that's a super important component for Canadians, obviously, unless you live in Vancouver. The all-wheel drive is really good. I only have the 19-inch Gemini all-season wheels and tires. But with the all-wheel drive, I found it handled very well. As good as my all-wheel drive Murano, or better. I found even with the all seasons it handles really well in the snow. We recently had a very large snowstorm. I mean, we got about a foot and had to go out the next day. Roads were not plowed and the Model Y just burned through it, no problem. So I was impressed. The ability to precondition the car is huge. I know that most cars, or any car now that's a regular car, you can have a remote starter installed, and that's really nice, and you can turn the car on and the heater comes on, and that's great. But here in Canada, I think a lot of people, if you have a garage, you use a garage. So you're kind of that decision of, if I park outside, I can start the car and be warm in the morning, but if a snowstorm comes, starting your car helps a little. You still have to go out and clean off all the snow or scrape off all the ice, which it sucks. What I love about the Tesla, or which would be true with any all-electric vehicle, is I can park in the garage and then using the app, I can turn on the car and warm the car. So you really get best of both worlds. I never have to shovel snow off the car or scrape ice off the car, and it's warm when I get in because, of course, with no emissions, it can be on in the garage and it's not a problem. It does have, for interest sake, heated seat in all seats of the car. To the point now where, like today, I'm going to a work meeting. I don't even bring a coat because when I precondition the car, I get in and I immediately have to turn the heat down and turn off the heated seat because it's warm, it's hot. Before my meeting's over, I'm going to precondition my car so when I walk out of the meeting and into the car, it will already be warm again. So that is an amazing feature. We do have plans to live somewhere warmer one day, and I imagine this feature is just as awesome when it comes to preconditioning the car to cool the car when it's very hot out. Also, it's great to be able to just leave your AC or your heater on. If you're running into a store for 5 or 10 minutes or even a half an hour, you can set the AC or heater to just stay on. And of course, your car is not idling, there's no engine, so it's perfectly legal, which of course it wouldn't be technically legal to do it in a gas car. You could, but probably not a good plan. Storage is next. This car is deceivingly big. It looks small at times, and then it looks large at times. It's a very weird car in that way. Maybe I'm the weird one, but I've looked at it and gone, wow, that car, it really slopes down in the back, so that's funny. But there is a lot of storage. I looked it up, in fact, and the Nissan Murano that we have, it's 2013, by the way, and it has 64 cubic feet. Whatever that means, it's 64. The Tesla Model Y has 68. Now, there's definitely a caveat to that because that storage is split between the rear area, the sub-trunk, the front trunk, or the frunk. But in total, it does add up to more than a Nissan Murano, which that really put it in perspective for me. If storage is something we're more interested in, I would love to do a video going over the car, doing kind of a tour of the car when it comes to storage and what you can reasonably fit where. I can tell you that you can fit a carry-on sized suitcase in the front trunk with no problem. So that is huge, especially we have kids, as I mentioned, so you can't go somewhere for a 2-hour visit without luggage, so there's plenty of room for a stroller, toys, whatever, in the car. We've been really impressed with that. They're even numbers. Security. The security, I don't think I could live without. The cameras that are on board, they're recording right now because I'm driving as a dash cam, so if there was an accident, if someone hit me, I would have a recording of that, which is really great to have. You can show your insurance company, here, I'm not at fault. There's also Sentry mode, in which it uses all the same cameras that the car uses while it's driving. It just uses them while it's parked and meshes in with the security system. So if the car sees something, it will record an event, and when you get back in your car later, it'll show you the footage on the cameras of what happened. It uses the front-facing camera, the rear camera, and then the rear side-facing cameras on both sides of the car. I mean, it's nice to have. If there's someone trying to break into your car or whatever, if they go too far or nudge the car, bump the car, try and open the door handle, it will set off the alarm, and in which case you'll get an alert on your phone telling you that the alarm has gone off. But it's just really nice to have that peace of mind and safety and security that there's always a camera rolling. The last thing, it's not really the last thing. I could do a list of 100 things. The last thing I'll mention for this video is the over-the-air updates. There's no other car on the market that I'm aware of where after you drive it off the lot, it improves at no charge to you. Since I've gotten the Tesla in November of 2020, I've gotten, I want to say, 4 to 6 updates through Wi-Fi. Some of them have been simple bug fixes, and another one was actually resulted in a range increase. The car originally had about 316 miles of range. I think that's about 508, 510 kilometers. And because of efficiency improvements in the computer, it went up to 326 miles range, which is around 524 kilometers range. Doesn't sound like much, but it sure is nice to gain 10 miles than to lose 10 miles. It's just really impressive that's included with the cost. Anything else? My Murano still doesn't know what street I live on. It thinks I live in a field. They've added features to the car. They've changed the layout of the screen. They've added features like boombox, where the kids just love making fart noises at people when we drive by them. So I think that's a huge thing to have. I think that's why Teslas depreciate slower than your average car. Just because you bought your car now doesn't mean you won't have the features that the new cars have in 6 months or a year. And I think that is, oops, we gotta get off here. I don't know how Jeeps does this. What were we talking about before I almost killed myself? Over-the-air updates. That can't be overlooked. I think that's one of probably the greatest value features in the car that's going to help it maintain value over time, because it becomes much harder to tell a 2019, a 2020, or 2021 when, unless there are physical aesthetic features on the outside of the car, you probably won't be able to tell. I definitely took the wrong exit. Shit. I got to my meeting. I think I'll wrap it up there. I think we've gone over really good ones. I did think of another one pedal driving, but I'll just stop there. If you made it this far in the video, big thanks. This is the first video I've ever made, so keep that in mind when you're looking at the editing and the overall quality of the video. I'm looking to learn and improve this, so I really appreciate it if you stuck around, and if you liked it, that's awesome. If there's something that you want to see in a future video that maybe I touched on today or I didn't touch on today, that you'd like to go in a little more detail, just leave me a comment. There are so many things we could do that if there's somewhere to start, then go ahead and let me know, and I'll do it. So thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.